Today in MotorVision, the international car magazine. A track test with the M3, the Hartge H50 and the Alpina B3. Three radically different BMWs built on the basis of the 3 Series. Brand new and exciting. Pure dynamism in triplicate. The 3 Series BMW was used as a base for 3 different vehicles, and the result? 3 very different sports cars with a combined output of over 1,000 horsepower. The BMW M3, an established brand with excellent credentials, the Alpina B3, sporty perfection, and the Hartge H50, unbridled V8 power. There are 343 ponies in the M3, 280 in the Alpina, and 400 in the Hartge Coupe, all pawing the ground impatiently and eager to be put through their paces. M3 displays its good handling characteristics on the test track, particularly in wet conditions. The differential lock on the rear axle provides ideal power distribution. The Alpina B3 has to manage without this kind of lock, but thanks to the harmonious suspension settings, it never presents the driver with any problems he can't solve. The Hartge is a monster on the run. The sheer engine power of the 5-liter V8 makes it tricky to control. Pushing it to its limit is the equivalent of driving on a razor's edge. Even without the electronic assistance of driving stability control, the M3 sweeps through the pylon alley. Fast, precise, and unspectacular. The Alpina B3 takes the course fluidly and effortlessly. There's never any irritating body rock, and acceleration is smooth, so you can leave the driving stability control off. Circling the Hartge through the pylons means you have to be constantly on guard. The rear wheels can suddenly lose traction, and your reaction at the wheel has to be just as fast. This is where a stability program can be a tremendous help. The Hartge even looks like a tough guy. The impressive spoiler dominates the front view, while the side is characterized by 19-inch wheels with 235 width tires in front and low-profile 265s in back. Thanks to the sport suspension system, the chassis sits an inch lower. The V8 is based on the BMW M. It puts out 500 Newton-meters of torque to push the Hartge's 1.5 tons. These sports seats are familiar. They're from the Porsche 911 GT3. The interior is otherwise virtually unchanged. Alpina stands for traditional qualities. These green racing stripes have been around for 20 years, and so has the exciting wheel design, seen here in 18-inch format. The B3 3.3 is based on the BMW 330i, and it's also the top-selling model in the Alpina range. The 6-cylinder engine, with its long stroke, provides 335 Newton-meters of torque, and where running smoothness and elasticity are concerned, it's way ahead of its peers in this series. The Alpina's interior shines with extensive series fittings, top-notch workmanship, and loving attention to detail. Every inch the gentleman. The third-generation M3 is even more striking than before and absolutely unmistakable. Unlike its predecessor, this powerful coupe isn't afraid to show its muscles. With these 4 exhaust pipes, the rear sends out a clear message: nobody gets past me. A message confirmed by the fantastic engine. This inline 6-cylinder revs all the way up over 8,000 RPM, and you've got a maximum of 365 Newton-meters of torque at your disposal. The interior layout of the M3 ensures maximum driving pleasure. Seats, steering wheel, controls, everything is exactly right. The M3 on full speed ahead. It hits 60 miles per hour after just 5.1 seconds. Its 1.6 tons seem light as a feather as it winds through the tight test track. Steering and chassis work perfectly together. It only gets a bit frantic behind the wheel when you reach the absolute handling limit. The car's basic tendency to understeer can be tamed by getting back on the gas quickly. Then, the M3 takes any corner in a controlled drift. The Alpina manages the standard sprint in just 5.7 seconds, but its suspension is too soft to break any track records. Nonetheless, its distinctly easy handling comes as a pleasant surprise. The wide handling limits give the driver good safety reserves and an equally high adrenaline level. The B3 is a persuasively consistent package. No wonder Alpina has been an established car manufacturer since 1983. The Hartge company name is also printed in the vehicle registration, but that's the only thing this wild driving machine has in common with the reserved Alpina. This beastly BMW wants to be tamed and bossed around, so it's not a car for inexperienced drivers. Concentration behind the wheel is a must when the pavement is wet. Otherwise, you may find yourself sliding off the road. But when driven with concentration, this bull of a car has almost unbeatable entertainment potential. And its performance stats, like 4.7 seconds for the sprint from 0 to 60, are pretty hard to find. To sum it up, 3 BMWs that couldn't be more different. The charismatic macho, the Hartge H50, the tenacious athlete, the BMW M3, and the harmonious gentleman, the Alpina B3. 3 examples of drastic variations on a single base model.